joining me. Now today I'm really excited to be starting on the refurbishment of my craft room. If you're a long-time subscriber of mine, you'll know that this was one of my goals for 2019 that I just didn't get around to, and it really is long overdue. So my craft room is in what used to be our spare bedroom, and we really did just take out the bed and put in a desk, and I started using it. So I never really designed this room, so there's nothing really in here that reflects my personality or anything like that. And over the sort of 4 years that I've been using it, it's become a little bit dull and a bit drab. So I really want to make it into a lovely, relaxing, light and airy room. So I thought what I'd do first is show you the room as it is now, so that afterwards we've got some lovely before and afters to compare. And then I'll tell you a little bit about my plans for the room. So this is my work area. And I've got these storage drawers on the side here, my angle poise lamp, and I always keep a tin of scraps of 1.5 sheet wood on there. All my glues and sort of bits and pieces in the corner there, all the bits that I use on a regular basis. And then in this corner here I've got my TV on top of this little filing cabinet, and in there I've got my pattern books. The bottom drawer I keep all of my sandpapers and things like that, another little drawer of bits, and then tucked down the side there I keep all of my sort of sheet paper that I'll use when I'm doing sort of cleaner work, like using fabric or anything like that. And then over in this other corner is our sort of main bookshelf for the house, and we've got far too many books. We've also got a couple of bookcases in the living room, and they're all full like this, so we do need to sort through these and get rid of some of our books. I'm sure everybody has that same thing. And then I just wanted to say I keep my toolbox down there beside my desk. And then over in that corner I keep my stock of wood. So all these little boxes down here are filled with scraps, all different thicknesses, same as those two at the back. And then in here I keep my bigger pieces of sheet and strip wood. And I want to actually find some storage space, maybe in these wardrobes, to store that, and then the tools will be kept in the drawers of the desk. So I want a nice clear floor area, and I think that will make the room feel a lot bigger as well. The room, by the way, is actually 9 foot by 6.5 foot, so it's not a bad size room for a craft room. And then I've got this lovely deep window ledge over here, but it's always sort of covered in bits like this, but I want to get that clear, and that will bring in a lot more light. So that's basically the room. There's not much to it at the moment, but as you can see it's just looking really sort of dull and drab, and it's not what I would call an inspiring room. Nothing really matches because I didn't plan anything. It all just sort of happened quite quickly, and it doesn't really reflect any of my personality. There's nothing really in here that I've chosen. It's all just things that were either cheap to buy or that we had in other areas of the house. Now these wardrobes over here we built in, or my husband built in, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and that was really to hide all of my crates and boxes and things like that, and to make it look a lot neater. So along the top there it's boarded up, but we need to put some paper on there and then we'll paint over it. But let me just show you what I've got in these cupboards as well. So in this first one here I've got a filing cabinet down there, and I do keep a lot of my materials in there, and I did go through a while ago and actually sort it all out. So I've got like my cereal packet card, bedding templates, brick papers, card patterned, card plain. Glove leather, cork sheet, so it's all quite nicely sorted. Got my mesh in there, mirrored sheet, and this is really handy. I actually got these when I was at work. The offices were having a clear out and I got these filing cabinets for free. I got 2 of these, so I've got another one in that cupboard in the centre there, but that one's got more of our sort of personal paperwork and things like that in. And that's all in there. And then I keep all of my, well, sort of receipts that I've spent, things that I've bought for the doll's house, lots of doll's house magazines that have got things in them that I want to keep or refer back to. And then I do a lot of creative writing, so the back of that is all my sort of creative writing bits. And again in the bottom one I've got all of my account stuff and catalogues and just bits that I've kept over the years. So that's all okay as far as storage goes. I've got this big crate here which is actually personal bits that we're not using but that we want to keep. I've got all my crewel wools down here. My husband's got about 5 guitars, so that's a couple of them tucked in there. And then all of my stock and things like that. And then right at the top we've got all of our blankets tucked in those vacuum bags. So that space is utilised quite well. If I close that one up and then come into this central one. So I've got that other filing cabinet there, paints that I use here for my doll's housing, trays that I use for putting drying pieces on. My husband collects comic books, so all those crates are full of his comic books and his art stuff. And then up here I've got all my postal stuff, boxes and things that I keep for packaging. Big bag of Royal Mail bags and all things like that. My fabrics up here. And again my husband's artworks, and then just other things that we're storing from the rest of the house. And then in this end one is all actually our winter clothes and winter coats and things like that. So I won't show you in there. I'm sure you're not interested in that. Oh yes, and I've got lots of doll's house paper and things here that I really need to sort, and some of it I want to keep, some of it I can probably sell. And I have actually done a lot of sorting. You may have seen on Etsy that I did actually list quite a few bits for sale, and I've set up a section in my Etsy shop called Craft Room Clear Out, and a lot of it is actually sold, and it's sort of craft related bits, but just things that I don't want anymore but I thought somebody else might be able to make use of. So that's that. And now let me tell you about my plans for the room. So I've ordered 2 more of these desks, so exactly the same design but it's in white, and I will keep one along here, and then I'm going to have the other one along here coming under the window, and it will come to about here, so just below that window ledge, or just sort of level, sorry, with that window ledge, so that I've got room then to open this door and pull out the filing cabinet drawers. But what that will then give me is a lovely big corner desk, and there'll be a gap here. I'm going to be getting rid of this filing cabinet, and I've ordered a big piece of kitchen worktop which will come right from here and go right into that corner, and that will give me a lovely long work area. And then the bit of desk that's sticking out here, which will be slightly lower because obviously the worktop's going to be about 1.5 inches thick, so the desk here will be just a little bit lower, so there'll be a lip, but I don't think that will matter. And then I'll have somewhere under here, when I've painted something, I'm waiting for paint to dry, I can just turn around and put all that over there, rather than having to put it on the floor behind me or open my toolbox and lodge it on there. So that will be really handy to be able to do that and have that bit of extra space. And then because there'll be like an opening for a seat in that second desk, I'm thinking about getting some storage drawers. I've been looking for some wooden drawers, but I can't find exactly the right size to fit under there, so I'll probably get some sort of plastic storage crate on a little trolley, or like on a frame, something like that. So all I've got at the moment is the 2 desks. I've got another bookcase, exactly the same as this one again, but in white. And that will keep it lovely and light and airy in here. And then I've got that bit of worktop coming. The other thing I'm going to do is get rid of these curtains and curtain poles, and I've got a couple of roller blinds, and they're thermal blackout blinds. And when I'm filming or taking photographs for the books, this light is really bright on here, so it means I can't work while that light's coming through. So with those thermal blackout blinds, I'll be able to pull those down and carry on filming or taking photographs. So that will be really handy. And I think as well, these curtains just seem to make the room seem smaller. They take up so much room, and these ones especially, always getting caught around my desk tidy over here, knocking things over. When the wind blows and I've got the window open, that's blowing about all over the place. So I think just getting rid of those is going to make a real difference. I'm having wallpaper on this wall, on this window wall, I call it, and that's this lovely bird design wallpaper, which I absolutely love, and that reflects my love of birds and nature. And then the paint that I'm going to use, if I just pull up this cork board here, take that off, I've done a little patch there. I don't know if you can see that on camera, it's very pale, but that matches the background paper of the wallpaper, and that's called Vancouver, and it's a B&Q paint colour, so that's really nice. And I love blues as well, and that will be on all these, well, these 2 other walls, so the door wall there, and then over on that other window wall. And then if I've got enough wallpaper left, I'm actually going to paper these side walls of this window recess. I just thought the paper is so nice, that will look really nice in there. And then for the woodwork, I'll be using bright white gloss, and that will be on the window ledge, the skirtings, and then on the door. And then the other thing I bought is this TV wall mount, and I'm going to have this up here, and then that will utilise all of the space that will be in the corner there, once I've got the worktop in there. And this is like a sort of arm thing. Part of it will stick to the wall, and then I can pull the TV out and angle it and then tuck it away when I'm not watching it. And the other thing I actually want to do in here is to replace this shelf, which you can see is bending, and that's that horrible MDF wood, that's why. And also this shelf, I want to extend it right out to this edge here, so that I can fit more on there, and I can then put my constructed room box at the back there, and just have extra things tucked away out of sight. And once I dismantle that bookcase in the corner here, I'm thinking of using these side panels to use as shelves in that wardrobe. Good sort of solid wood there. So the first thing to do is to start clearing the room, and then we can start the decorating. So the room is now completely empty, and I've given it a good vacuum clean. But look how nice and bright it looks in here, especially without those curtains up. It looks so much bigger as well. So this carpet has actually been down since we moved in, and that would probably be, what, 15 or 16 years ago now. And it's not very nice, it's a bit worn in places. And I would like to get wooden flooring in here, a nice light wooden floor. But that isn't really in the budget for this room at the moment, so that's something I'd like to do in the future. And once we've decorated, I'll just give this carpet another vac, maybe scrub it up in places where I've spilt paint and what have you. I can trim a bit off in that corner where it's a little bit frayed. And while I was vacuuming behind the radiator, I ripped off some paper. Look at this. I don't know if that's 70s or maybe even 60s I love seeing old wallpaper. Okay, so the next thing to do in here is to knock those staples in that I don't think you can even see on camera, but there's a few sort of staples along the join that we need to hammer in, and then we can put some lining paper on that section above the wardrobes there, and then it will be time to paint the ceiling. But now it's about 1:30, so I'm going to go and have some lunch and then we'll crack on. So Matt has very kindly agreed to help me today.
Hello!
And before we had these double glazing windows, we had just metal windows, and we used to get a lot of condensation, and the water has dripped off the window ledge and has started to pull that paper off there. So we were just going to put another sheet of paper on, but the lining paper we've got is actually a lot narrower than the one that's already on there. So Matt's just going to use wallpaper paste to stick that back down.
Should be fine.
It's gone a bit bubbled as well, but luckily that will be hidden behind that second desk over there. So that should be okay. And while he's getting on with that, I'm going to make a start on the ceiling. Finished the ceiling. I hope it's looking even. Let me just put the light on and see. And that's just cutting in there along the edge of the wardrobe panel. The screw holes are all filled. So I think now we can start the paint. So that's 2 coats of paint and 1 coat of gloss so far. And already it feels so much fresher and cleaner, and it looks really light and airy, and I love how that colour's drying, that sort of pale blue grey. So looking a bit patchy at the moment, but once that's dried, I think that's going to look really nice. Tomorrow we'll be papering this window wall, and I also painted inside the window recess up there, used the ceiling paint for that, and I did the same in this window recess. And then we'll be papering here tomorrow as well, and here, and I can't wait to get that paper up. I think that's going to make such a difference. But yeah, not a bad day's work. And one thing that did actually happen, the radiator fell off the wall on one side. So Matt's propped it up there with a piece of cardboard tube, just so that that one bracket on the right hand side isn't taking all the weight. So we gave it a coat of the blue paint, the blue grey Vancouver paint that we're using on the walls. But I am going to have to get a new radiator, but that will obviously happen at a later date. But we also noticed that where it had come off the wall there was a little bit of leaking around one of the pipes down there, so we will need to get a new radiator. But I love how it looks in here. I love the smell as well when everything's just been painted, so sort of fresh and clean. So there's marginally more paint on the ceiling and walls than there is on me. So I'm going to call it a day and come back in the morning. So I'll see you then.